Welcome to Corporate Agony Aunt, the podcast that takes the agony out of career progression and gives you the straight talking advice you actually need to thrive at work. I'm Izzy, your Corporate Agony Aunt. Whether you're chasing a promotion, negotiating a pay rise, navigating office politics, or figuring out your next career move, this is the place for career highs, lows, the yeses and the nos. Hit subscribe wherever you're listening because your next big opportunity starts right here. Today we're talking about counteroffers and colleagues who don't know when to stop talking. Let's spill some corporate tea. Our first corporate dilemma is, Dear Corporate Agony Aunt, I got a job offer but my current boss just offered me a pay rise. Should I stay or should I go? Firstly, we need to evaluate long-term growth, not just the pay increase. And before you start flapping, I know how nerve-wracking it can be to start an entirely new company, and sometimes you might feel like it's better the devil you know. But did we really dream of having to entertain the devil in our careers, or did we dream of a way out to pastures new and the promise of new opportunities? My guess is the latter. So ask yourself these questions before you make any decisions. Number 1, was money the only reason I was leaving? Number 2, what were the other reasons I looked elsewhere? Number 3, how much am I actually learning lately? Number 4, what is the bandwidth for progression to your next pay rise and promotion, or do they only come after a resignation? Do you only ever get them as a counteroffer? Full transparency, I stayed after a counteroffer before and nothing changed at all. Plus, I had to turn down an opportunity that I was really looking forward to. But I will say at that time, I was dead focused on buying my first house, so the money became my main priority, which is why I decided the increase was worth sticking around for. All I have to say, though, is if you make that choice, you have to make peace with that decision. You have to remember that the things that are pissing you off now are going to piss you off again, maybe even more so. But you have to keep locked in for your priorities. If you don't have a money goal in mind right now, I'd honestly say in almost every scenario that it's probably better to leave. Because if they can't appreciate you until you resign, then realistically, what's going to change? The power move here is to not let short-term money blind you to long-term potential. The second corporate dilemma is, my co-worker keeps interrupting me in meetings. How do I shut it down? Honestly, I have so much advice on this one, but the best thing you need to do is keep speaking and slow down. Naturally, you'll want to just stop and let Dave interrupt you, but dealing with an interrupting coworker is going to be frustrating until you learn how to shut it down effectively. It requires confidence, strategy, and practice, but the best thing you can do is keep speaking and slow down until Dave stops talking and stops interrupting you. I've got 4 power moves you can try in the meantime until you feel confident enough to do that one. The first is the direct but polite approach. So an example is, I'd love to finish my point before we move on. Just give me a second. Or, I wasn't quite done yet, Dave. Let me just wrap up my thought. Or maybe you could try, I appreciate your input, Dave, but I'd really like to finish what I was saying first. This works because it's assertive but respectful. You're signalling to your coworker that you're not done speaking without coming off as rude or defensive. You're showing that your thoughts are important and deserve to be heard, and it also puts the focus back on your contribution without escalating the situation. The second option is the power play. This is for the persistent interrupters. An example might be, hold that thought, Dave, I'll finish up and then it's all yours. Or, just a moment, Dave, I want to make sure my point is fully heard before we continue. This works also because it sets a boundary without sounding confrontational, and it also places control of the conversation back in your hands, making it clear that you're in charge of when the discussion moves on. By acknowledging the interrupter's input, you maintain a professional tone, but you make sure your voice is heard first. The third option is for the group strategy, but this is providing that Dave interrupts other people, not just you. An example is, I'd love for us to be mindful of letting everyone finish their thoughts. Let's make sure all voices are heard. Or, can we pause for a second? I think Georgia was still finishing their point. That's if you're advocating for another colleague. This works because the approach calls attention to the issue in a group context, which helps shifts the focus from your behaviour itself. It doesn't just address your own needs, but it's a subtle way of creating an inclusive meeting environment where everyone's thoughts are valued. It's less confrontational because you're not singling anyone out per se, but it still gets a message across. And the last option is the preemptive move, and this is the one I used early in my career until I felt prepared to be able to do the slow down and continue talking option, and that is preempting the interruption. So if you know Dave's joining the meeting and he's going to interrupt you again, join the meeting and say, I'd like to get through my full update before we open the floor for discussion. This works because the preemptive strategy sets expectations up front, minimising interruptions before they can even happen. And by laying out the ground rules at the beginning of the meeting, you establish the structure and make it clear that you expect to be heard in full before others chime in. It's about establishing authority early on so you can avoid interruptions later on. The thing with Dave and the office interrupter is that nothing changes if nothing changes. And if the interruptions are annoying to you, I can guarantee it's annoying to others too. So please, practice what you're going to say, role play with a friend or in the mirror if you have to, and be ready with your response for the next meeting. Next up, it's time for a corporate confessional, the part of the podcast designed to help you feel better about your biggest workplace mistake and to act as a reminder that we are all only human. Today's anonymous submission is called Olivegate. Rewind to managing the social media for a major clothing brand with a 500,000 following. One day, casually juggling a million things as you do on social media, scrolling through my personal camera roll, trying to post something aesthetic on my personal account. Instead, I accidentally posted a photo of olives to 500k fashion followers. Just a random bowl of olives, no context, just a green emoji on their main feed. I didn't even notice until after, and a colleague WhatsApped me asking if it was a stunt. She was meant to take it to the grave, but instead she brought it up Olivegate at the whole team meeting on the Monday morning. This could have absolutely taken the person out of their ways for days, but instead they were able to laugh it off, and I can tell you now this person is absolutely flying in their career. This is not a career-defining moment. Arguably it's something she wants to forget, but I know that in the grand scheme of things, this is not the worst thing to ever be posted on a brand account. The lesson here is shit happens, but also use this story as a sense check if you're posting on behalf of work this week. Right, now we're moving on to our interview power move masterclass. This will happen every episode at the end of each pod, and the focus this week is on optimizing your time. People think the job hunt is overwhelming and that becomes a barrier before they even start trying. But what you need to do is manage your time during the work week so that weekends can be optimized for applications. So during the work week and on the evenings, I shortlist job applications. I look for the jobs that I really want to apply for and the others that I might apply for as well, and I put them into a spreadsheet. In the spreadsheet, I have status updates, any notes, and anything about the role title or salary that I need to know. I then also asterisk next to the jobs that I want the most. The ones that I want the most are the ones that I put the most effort into. If they are your dream jobs, you best believe you should be spending extra time applying, connecting with the founder, putting together a pitch deck that wasn't asked for. Do the extras because the dream jobs are worth it. But this approach keeps your job search organised and efficient, allowing you to focus on quality rather than quantity when applying for roles. It means you find the best fit roles rather than rushing into applications out of desperation, and it helps you avoid doing one application a night in the week and feeling like you've made absolutely no progress at all. Shortlist in the week, apply on the weekend. Also, you need to treat it like a full-time job. If you are serious about making a career move, you need to treat the job search like a job itself. That means committing hours, and that means you might miss a couple of hours on the weekend with your friends, but it's worth missing a bottomless brunch to actually commit to your career. And I promise you, if you land that 10k pay rise, you can treat all your friends to brunch and the FOMO will all be worth it. It's about prioritising what matters, and that is your career progression. Job searching in itself is a major life event that deserves the same level of commitment as a full-time job. When you allocate focused, intentional time for your search, you avoid procrastination and you ensure to stay on track. Setting a clear routine just helps you stay consistent, and it means that you don't lose momentum as quickly. When you treat the job search like a job, you're more likely to make significant progress, and it helps you build on momentum and apply for the right roles and get results faster. Lastly, a small hack that I think has a massive impact is always having your CV accessible. Always have your CV on your phone or your cloud storage because recruiters move fast. Imagine getting a call from a recruiter or seeing an opportunity that is just too good to pass up. Maybe it closes in the next 2 hours and you don't have a copy of your CV to hand. That means you miss opportunities. It's so important because the job market moves so quickly and opportunities can pop up unexpectedly. So having your CV easily accessible ensures you're prepared when a recruiter calls and when you come across an exciting role. Not only that, but it shows how proactive, organised and ready to act fast you are, which makes you stand out from the competition. Being able to send it quickly just makes you seem more professional, confident and responsive, and those are all traits that people are looking for when they're trying to hire people. People always ask me when they're interviewing for roles, if they get an offer for an interview at a job that they don't like, shall they go for it or not? Let's be real, you won't always love every job you apply for, and that's okay. But in my opinion, if you're asked to interview for a role that isn't 100% perfect match, don't pass on the opportunity. Use it as a practice run. Interviews are a great way to sharpen your communication skills, test your ability to think on your feet, and get more comfortable with interview questions. Plus, the more interviews you do, the better you'll perform in the ones that really matter. This is no pressure, just practice and learning, and that's great preparation for your next interview. Interviewing is a skill that improves with practice. Even if you're not 100% interested in a role, going through the motions of an interview can help you fine-tune your responses, build confidence, and better understand what employers are looking for. This reduces anxiety and prepares you for the opportunities that matter most. Using interviews as practice allows you to improve your skills without the pressure of needing to secure the role. So please, just go for it. Time is of the essence in today's market, and you replying quickly to a recruiter because you were checking your emails means that you might just pinch that interview spot from someone that took too long to reply. In a fast-paced market, recruiters are looking for candidates who are responsive and easy to work with, and responding quickly demonstrates how enthusiastic, professional, and communicative you are. Lastly, a reminder, interviews are a two-way street. What is meant for you will not pass you by, and if you don't get an opportunity, it isn't personal. It's professional. Everything will make sense when you land the role that's right for you and for the company, not just for the company itself. Finally, let's finish with some community questions from producer Georgia, who's rounded up some of your questions from social media to ask us for today's episode. Producer Georgia, what have we got?
How to tell your boss you're leaving after coming back from mat leave.
Firstly, I think someone is reading my mind because I actually just resigned from a job whilst I was on maternity leave. There was nothing really wrong with the job. I just felt that I was ready for a new challenge. I had changed fundamentally. My priorities had changed. The hours I was willing to commit to my job had changed. And so I needed something different. I think a lot of companies expect this discussion from a woman returning from maternity leave, especially if they haven't been communicative with you whilst you've been on mat leave. The business will have fundamentally changed if you've been off for 12 months. I was off for nearly 14, and so much changed in the business at that time that when I came to it, I just really wasn't ready for going back. I wanted to do something different, and I got a new opportunity. It might seem nerve-wracking, and it might feel like an uncomfortable conversation, but do you know what's more uncomfortable? Not prioritising the new version of yourself that you have grown to be after this really transformative experience. So figure out what your priorities are, protect your peace, and just lean into conversations as early as you can in a way that might help the business rather than hinder it. Thanks, producer Georgia.
That was really useful. I graduate in 4 months from uni, but I need to find a job. What areas of self-development should I focus on?
If I was graduating from university in 4 months, I would simply focus on personal branding and networking. Obviously, skill acquisition is so important, but my argument is that you have been acquiring skills and knowledge throughout your degree, and the thing you've probably not been doing is building your network. So start showing up online on LinkedIn and start connecting with recruiters. If you can be consistent with posting, creating content, sharing the highlights from your course or the work experiences you've had so far, maybe sharing insights and thoughts on industries that you want to get into, it's a really good way to start showing up before you need to start applying for jobs, and it means that recruiters start to learn your name and a room full of opportunities before you come to apply for them. So don't think that personal brand is for someone that's been in the career 10, 20, 30 years. You are well within your rights to build one. You've got so much to say, especially if you finish in university. Just start doing that now and start focusing on skill acquisition and what you could be doing last minute. The best thing you need to do that will compound over time is start to build your personal brand.
Final question is, I'm in my 30s, but my male boss still speaks to me like I'm a kid. How do I stop that?
I am sorry that happens. That must be super frustrating. I think what you need to do is note down 2 to 3 examples of when this has happened and then have a conversation with your boss straight away. Sit your boss down and say, "Hi Dave, I'm really enjoying working with you over the last X amount of months. I think we've found brilliant ways to collaborate together. One thing I would love for us to work on is communication, specifically pertaining to how you speak to me. Sometimes I feel that your communication style can come across quite patronising. I've got a couple of examples here, A, B, and C. I know that you don't mean it. Take out the heat. You don't need to be accusing or confrontational. Just say, these are some examples. How does he think that we can move forward in terms of our communication? But having that conversation and facing it head on is so important, because otherwise it's going to continue and you're going to perpetuate the cycle where people feel that they can speak to you that way in important meetings, in rooms full of opportunity, in rooms of clients, and you cannot let people think that that's what you tolerate. So you need to lean into it head on, have an awkward conversation, be rooted in examples rather than emotion, and talk about how you can collaborate and come together to improve your communication style rather than being accusatory in your tone. That's it for today. I really hope this episode has helped to kickstart your career glow up. Do not forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss any of our future career tips and tricks, and share this with a friend who's also navigating their career journey or job hunt. Let's build an unstoppable community of professionals who know how to win in the corporate world. There are extra resources on my website and in the links in my bios to help you land your dream job and tackle your corporate dilemmas one step at a time. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time on Corporate Agony Aunt.